Well, hello everyone and welcome to the last 30 minutes here of day 2 here at the Bahrain International Circuit. I kind of have to commentate a little bit quieter because it's quite late. Really did not intend for the session to go on this late. Kind of a long story, the reason why. But it has been an interesting day. Proceedings have been rather smooth. I mean, this morning though, or not this morning, it's going to be half evening, it was quite an action-packed session. Quite a few teams having teething problems, including Yanata Roka, who only managed to get 30 laps in the early session after a problem with Alex Moore's car. But Alex Moores is back out. His car's so far at the moment running strong in the afternoon session, as people would still like to call it, even though it is in the evening, very late at the moment. But it's been a very interesting day here at the Sakhir International Circuit. James is not in the commentary box with me today, and he probably won't be tomorrow because he's got other things obviously today because it's too late. And he won't be in the commentary box for the first race, as I've just announced on Twitter, because he's got other stuff going on at that time. But he might be in for qualifying still for the first race. It doesn't mean he won't be in for qualifying. But James should be in the commentary box for the majority of the races this year. As I've said on Twitter many times. At the moment, to run you through what the times are at the moment, it's Alex Moore's fast on the 160.6, 26.650, ahead of Rosie O'Driscoll on the 127.000. Will Buchan, the Baronasso, looking very fast. 127.107 ahead of Hannah Duran and Kieran Ollie have actually set identical times on a 127.297, but Hannah Duran set hers in the earlier session. Luke Julian's currently in 6th on the 127.444 ahead of Matt Coombs on a 27.700. Dan Phillips is 8th on the 127.970 ahead of Matthew Tuson on a 128.148. Kerry-Ann Peace is currently 3rd on a 28.160. And Ben Blake with a Shantana improving in the 128.385. Louise Morrow is currently 12th, having her runnings over. She only managed to get 31 laps in today. Very bad day for RTS. The 128.676. Ahead of David Bland on the 128.765, with Elliot Everson 14th on 130.145, and James Lang rounding out the field, or the 15 cars on a 130.980. Now, talking about RTS, both sessions, they seem to be having problems with that curb. I'm pretty sure it will be sorted out before the race takes place. But she had a massive shunt earlier on. As you can see, she just gets onto the curb, and 120 mile an hour crash this was. She just got onto the curb and it just slammed into the wall. Just like such a fast impact into the tyre wall. And that's her running over. She lost a lot of running. She has lost a lot of running today. But so far all the cars are still running at the moment. And Rosie O'Driscoll has managed, on her last lap, actually her second lap on these tyres, has just now, I need to commentate a bit quieter, but has just managed to improve to a 126.912. So she's finding time on those super soft tyres, maybe because she was held up on her first run on this current set of tyres. I think she will probably be able to go on another set of tyres before the end of the session, but she could have been even faster. So Rosie O'Driscoll finding time in the Coupe once again affirming Coombs GP's position as best of the rest. So Coombs GP looking good at the moment. We're not actually seeing as much of a difference between the super soft and the soft as we're expecting. But only a few cars. And Matthew Tucson is still, I thought he'd improved, but he was 8th. And just getting confused with the different timesheets. But it has been a very interesting day of proceedings. You can see Kieran Hardy currently on track. Guindana having probably their best day of the off-season so far, I'd say. I mean, their car has looked good. Their car does have potential. I'd say their car's probably kind of at the level that the car was at towards the back end of last year. Guindana, we have 22 minutes of running left here on day 2. 22 minutes to go. As Luke Julian exiting the pits. Elliot Everson exits the pits as well in his Speedtech. Speedtech do seem to be ahead of HWR at the moment. So, but at the moment, obviously, in Ataroka, looking like they could actually top every single day of preseason testing. I mean, they didn't top any day last year. Obviously, they were really hiding their pace. This year, they're not hiding their pace at all. They are topping the timesheets every day. Which they could have done last year if they wanted to. But Yanataroka obviously are looking very good for this season once again. Even though I think the gap seems to have closed a little bit between themselves and Coombs GP. David Bland ahead, passing the HWR of James Lang. Tobe have really dropped off. And Tobe don't seem to, because I think Tobe says the only explanation for this is just Jerez was a track that really suited the car. Because surely that many teams to have brought updates. Because in Jerez they look to be the top of the midfield. Australia is a track that has kind of similar characteristics, so they might be quite a bit quicker in Melbourne, because it is likely that the cars that they're driving here are the Melbourne specs that they're going to be driving at the Grand Prix in a couple of weeks' time, when these cars are transported to Australia. For the first race of this season. But this is still crucial running because in just a month, around a month's time, in fact, actually a month today, in fact, CRC will be racing here. So exactly a month today, CRC would have raced here. As Luke Julian crosses the line, we've got 18 minutes left of the session left. Here you've got Matthew Towson in the Mossad by MAT. But obviously the Mossad is a very nice looking car in terms of its livery. The gold wheels as well that they put on the car. You're currently looking at the metallic yellow Mossad car at the moment. They've had a reasonable pre-season, obviously with their first car. It seems to be a decent car. Definitely faster than where Mossad were last year. 16 minutes left of the session to go. As Towson heads into turn 3, obviously he is going to be in the car tomorrow. Alex Moores is going to be in the Anataroka tomorrow. Walesi's done for the pre-season. Alex Moores is going to be driving the car again tomorrow. O'Driscoll, after today, would have been done. What's been an impressive pre-season for her, getting to grips with her first car, and she's done a really good job. And I think she will be someone to watch during this season. Because Toby Jones gets back into the car tomorrow. Will Buchan remains in the Barnasso. Jack Baldwin returns to the Guindana. Chantal Hawke returns to the Dork. Matt Coombs remains in the Masterforce. Maxim Tagala jumps into the CGP. Matthew Towson remains in the Mossad. Chloe Carter returns to the Lockie. Harvey Williams returns to the Shantana. Lucas Quintanilla returns to the DMAD. Phoebe O'Connor jumps into the RTS. David Bland remains in the Tove. Bex Howie jumps into the Speedtech, and Louis Hyde returns to the HWR. And that is who will be running in the cars tomorrow for the final day of testing in Bahrain, the final day of the pre-season testing. Ben Blakemore has had to stop out on track. Let's have a look at what actually happened. His session looks to be over. Oh, he actually almost took Dan Phillips. Did a good job not to hit the back of Ben Blakemore. But not the way that Shantana will want their day to finish off, with their car grinding to a halt. And that's a very slow moving Dan Phillips. I'm not sure what that was all about. Rosie O'Driscoll heads into the pits. But it has definitely been an interesting pre-season. But we've got 12 minutes to go here in Bahrain. Luke Julian's in the pits quite suddenly. I think his car's conked out. Luke Julian's had a problem in his CGP, so something's clearly happened to Luke Julian. So what has actually happened? He's probably had to stop out on track somewhere. So what has happened? Yep, he has engine failure for the CGP. So that is the third mechanical failure of this part of testing. The eighth casualty of today. What was clearly an engine failure, because that was explained by the smoke coming from the car. Explained by the smoke coming from the car. As Matt Coombs enters the pits in the Master Force. 10 minutes remaining here in Bahrain for the penultimate day of pre-season testing. Then of course we have the final day, which takes place tomorrow. Rosie O'Driscoll enters. Not sure that's the best time because the speed tech is ahead. Unless Rosie catches up to the speed tech towards the end of the lap. I'm not sure that she is going to get this lap then. That's clear. Unless she can catch up, she catches up. I think she will probably catch up to Everson before the end of the lap. Or maybe on the main straight, because obviously the Coombs GP is around 3 seconds a lap faster than the speed tech. I just counted the gap and it's 3 seconds, especially in a straight line, because obviously that's where the backmarker team, the small teams such as Speed Tech and HWR really do suffer, particularly in a straight line, and a toe really can help the. But I think it's gonna she's going to be able to pass Everson before going into the final corner. Yeah, look at how close she is now. Yeah, she's going to do it before the final going into the final corner. And now she's going to get this lap, providing no one else exits the pits at the worst possible time. So Rosie will have this lap, and this will probably be her last properly fast lap of the session as we speak. Alex Moores, who's currently fastest, heads into the pits. So Rosie heads into the turn 4 now, up towards turn 5 into turn 6, where there's a lot of curb glitches this year, but that looked really good at turn 6. 28.0 in the first sector for Rosie O'Driscoll. Rosie heads into turn 10. Down the second of the two DRS zones. Will be the same for the race. Wow, Rosie's really... She has been on it all pre-season. And this is going to be some crucial... Because this is going to be our last 7 minutes in the car before Melbourne. So crucial running for her. So across the line goes Rosie O'Driscoll. And it's no improvement on her previous best. It's actually only a 27.2. So not her best lap at all. Matthew Tewson's still in the pits. Has gone into the pits. Dan Phillips is travelling down the pit lane right now. It's got 6 minutes, 4 minutes and 40 seconds left. But I am really looking forward to this season. In fact, this time in 2 weeks, we will know who is on pole for the Australian Grand Prix. I honestly cannot... How quickly this off-season has gone. It really does not feel like yesterday when the 2015 season reached its climax in Abu Dhabi. I can't believe we've had almost a whole off-season since then. Of course, that day it was Will Esley who took the championship with an absolutely dominant drive. An absolutely dominant drive that day that Will Esley did. He really did pull it out of the bag that day. Of course, now he's coming into this season to defend his title. As Alex Moores now heads back out onto the circuit in the Yanata Roca. He heads into the first corner. But we are really seeing some interesting times today. Hannah Duran is back in the pits. Has she had a problem? No, she hasn't. So I always wonder when people go back in the pits. when people are in the pits. I always think, have they had a problem? As the Natabroka of Alex Moores, he might still have one more lap to absolutely go for it today. Of course, it is going to be a crucial day for the teams tomorrow. It's their final time in the car. As Alex heads into turn 8, 27.8 in the first sector. Now into the second sector. James Lang's into the pits. Has he had anything? No, he hasn't. In the number 19. As Alex Moores heads down towards the final corner. It's a good lap that he's setting. Looking at the live timing. Let's see what lap it is. And whether it beats his 26.6 or not, it's not going to beat his 26.6. But it's a 26.9 for Alex Moores. His last proper flyer of the session. Got 2 minutes left on the clock. So of course we've got one final day. Tomorrow's Hannah Duran goes back out onto the track in the Dork, hoping probably going to go for one final bit of experience with the car before she can go home for the off-season. Of course, all the drivers will meet up in Bahrain again next week for the media day. But for now, her work is done for the pre-season. Same with Rosie O'Driscoll and Luke Julian. Luke Julian's work's already done. Ben Blakemore as well. Louise Morrow. But the Dork do seem to have a reasonable car. As Duran heads into the final corner. Got 10 seconds left on the clock. And that is it. I'm pretty sure everyone will be called into the pits by the game at the end of the current laps that they're in on. Matthew Toussaint's heading into the pits after a good day's work in the Mossad. Will Buchan heads into the pits in the Baronesso. Alex Moores heading into the pits. And Kerry-Ann Peace will come into the pits as well in the Will Spin Lockie. That is it for day 3. For day 2 here in the second part of the Bahrain test, or day 5 as the site calls it. It's Alex Moore's fast on 126.650 ahead of Rosie O'Driscoll and Will Buchan. So Rosie O'Driscoll now heads into the pits. And that is it. That is it for day 5 in Bahrain. Of course, we've only got one more day of pre-season testing left to go of the off-season. One more day left to go. And what is set really has been a very interesting pre-season. So, the session has ended. Alex Moore's fast on a 126.650 ahead of Rosie O'Driscoll on a 126.912. Will Buchan was third on a 127.107 ahead of Hannah Duran on a 127.297. Kieran Hardy set an identical time to Hannah Duran, but set it later, so he's fifth. Luke Joyano on a 127.444. Matt Coombs is seventh on a 27.700 ahead of Dan Fitz. Better day for D-Mail, I'd say, on a 127.970. Matthew Towson was ninth on a 128.148 ahead of Kerry-Ann Peace on a 128.160. Ben Blakemore is 11th on a 128.385 ahead of Louise Morrow on a 128.676. David Blannon on a 128.765. Elliot Everson on a 130.145 and James Lang rounded out the 15 cars on a 130.980. So, that is day 4 has come to an end. We're gonna now just have a look at who is leading the mileage charts now before we wrap up. Before we wrap up today's action. So, Yanataroka had their running curtailed in the morning due to a problem, but they did manage 70 laps in the afternoon, so did 110 laps. And look at that, it's some interesting stat here. They had the fastest car in a straight line by 3 kilometers per hour. They topped the speed traps by 3 km/h. Dork were second in the speed traps. And then it was Masterforce. But very interesting stat to read there. Dork also had their running curtailed in the morning. Once again, they're not proving to have the best reliability, but they did do 73 laps in the afternoon, so did 118 laps today. Coon GP, their car ran reliably today, did 139 laps. Brownasso as well. Their car ran reliably and did 139 laps as well. Guindana, obviously at the top of the mileage charts at the moment, they did 144 laps today. That car is proving to be very reliable, that Guindana is. The Masterforce also proving to have quite a fairly reliable car, even though they have had a couple of issues. They did 140 laps today with Matt Coombs. CGP did have their running curtailed in the afternoon. And they did 129 laps. Mossad had a reasonable day with Matthew Towson at the wheel. They did 145 laps today, did the Mossad. Lockie had a decent day as well. No major problems, to continue to show some pace and promise. 138 laps completed. Shantana did have their running curtailed in the afternoon, so they didn't get as much laps as they would have liked in that car. So they did 129 laps. DMAD had a better day. Their car ran reliably today. A much better day for them. They managed 139 laps today. So that was a good, and also ended up 8th fastest as well. So that was a good day. Even though just looking at the tyre that Dan Phillips was on, he did set his time on the super soft tyre. But still, they can class that as a good day. But one team that had an absolutely terrible day, though, with 2 crashes, RTS, Louise Morrow, only did 31 laps today. After actually a really big crash. So, a bad day for RTS. They have fallen back in the development race. David Bland, despite looking a bit off the pace, they said their car, Tove do remain confident, they said their car should be still quick in the fast circuits. They did 144 laps today, the Tove did, of David Bland. The Speed Tech of Elliot Everson did 137 laps today, so their car ran fairly reliably. And the HWR of James Lang did 130 laps today, so good day for them. So now looking at the mileage chart, Guindana still top the mileage chart. That is a very reliable car that Guindana have. That Guindana is a very reliable car. You have to say that. And all teams bar DMAD, RTS, Shantana and Lockie. Obviously Shantana and Lockie weren't at the first test, but DMAD and RTS were. So they've got some running too, but they should be able to get, if they don't have any problems, they should be able to get to this barrier. All the other teams have broken the 1,000 lap barrier. Although Dork have done at exactly 1,000 laps. So, very interesting. These cars are proving to have a few reliability issues, but running reliably as though. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, for staying up late with the midnight oils and everything to watch this session. As I said, I did not intend for the session. If had I known we were going to be in London for as long as we were, I would have done the morning session this morning. So, very sorry about that. But that is it from day 5, and we'll see you tomorrow for day 6. Goodbye.